Good afternoon, guys. It is June 9th, 2022. On this video here, I want to talk to you about keeping vacuum cleaners running. Now, this is an example. I found this Bissell in the trash about a year ago. Some of you might remember that. I still have yet to get rid of it. It's been a challenge to get over to Goodwill or something. And no, I'm not going to be keeping this. I do not like bagless vacuums. This one, I don't want it. And I'm just going to be donating it here locally. So, but, yeah, so this is a constant complaint that I hear. I constantly hear people griping that vacuums just don't last very long and that they're just not made like they used to be, which is true. However, there is no reason to not maintain a vacuum cleaner. Absolutely no reason. And I'm doing this video mainly for the majority of consumers, average consumers, because as you know, we are living in some pretty bumpy times economically right now. Buying a new vacuum cleaner is probably not something you want to do unless you just have boatloads of money at your disposal. But keep what you already bought in good shape. And I understand that vacuum cleaners get used, but you know, whether a vacuum cleaner costs $50 or whether it costs $2,000, you can get a decent life out of a vacuum cleaner. Now, some of these are just absolute crap, I will admit. Like, I think the really cheap Dirt Devil feather lights and stuff like that, you can make those last, but it's extremely hard to do so because they're just cheap and flimsy to begin with. So, I will say that Bissell is decent. Is it the best? No. Not by any stretch of the imagination. But keep these things cleaned out. You know, don't just let them rot and get full of junk and stuff. Just keep them cleaned out, because that's going to extend the life of your vacuum cleaner regardless of what you paid for it. Now, I do recommend looking into bagged vacuum cleaners if you can get them. There is a Bissell Power Force bagged that takes the style 1 in 7 bags. As far as a budget machine goes, I think that's one of the most cost-effective machines to own and keep running as far as budget vacuums. So, just basic common sense. Keep the dust cup empty. Keep the filter's clean, change the belt when it needs to be changed, clean off the hair off the roller, and keep all these tubes and stuff clear. And don't just abuse it in the first place, because that will definitely reduce the life of your machine. Do not vacuum up fine powders like carpet powder. Found this in the trash. That's exactly what these people did. It made a huge mess in the whole machine. I guarantee the motor is probably messed up from all of that abuse, and they just flat out did not take care of it. It's missing all of its tools, and now, is this the best machine? No. I mean, this is nowhere near as strong as a Kirby or something like that. But when you don't have the money to go out and buy a high-end, high-quality vacuum cleaner, and believe me, some people say, well, you just don't understand, people don't have the money. Yes, I do. I absolutely understand that. Growing up, my parents were on a pretty tight budget for a good chunk of my childhood. I absolutely understand that some people just don't have the money to buy fancy things or higher end things. I totally understand that. 100%. What I was saying is, if you have the extra money and it's not going to hurt you financially, that's what I would recommend. I would go a little bit higher grade than basic, Walmart vacuums. But I have absolutely nothing against these. I recommend that you look into the basic Bissell's. Make sure that you can get parts for any of the machines that you buy, whether it's Hoover, Bissell, Eureka, which Eureka is crap nowadays. I don't really recommend Eureka. Used to, but not anymore. Eureka used to be a good brand, but now they're just absolute garbage. And believe me, back in the early 2010s, my parents bought a Eureka Lightspeed bagless, if you remember those, that had the filter in the middle, and that was all that there was. I mean, thought those were crap back then. I mean, those were decent by today's standards. They still weren't great. They still clogged. They still were a mess. But my parents, I don't remember what they paid, but I would imagine it was no more than $50 to $60 for that thing. You know how long we had that thing? We had that thing for 4 years. And it actually still was working, but I saved up money to upgrade and replace it later down the road. So I just gave it to Goodwill, So vacuums do not have to be disposable, Now, do they have their lifespan? Absolutely. But with a decent vacuum cleaner, a budget vacuum cleaner, if you take care of it, it'll take care of you. And it'll get the job done. And I guarantee you will probably get at least 5 to 10 years out of a machine like this if you take care of it and you don't abuse it and you do regular maintenance. There was a lady that actually bought one of these a couple years back. She's since passed away, but there was a lady that I saw on YouTube, elderly lady, so, naturally, probably from back, in the Depression days and World War II and all those times, she literally had a Bissell just like this. You know what she did? She cleaned it out every single time she vacuumed. After every single use, she dumped it out, she pulled all the hair out of the brush roll, she washed the canister, she washed the filter, and wiped everything down, made sure everything was dry, wiped it down with, Lysol, antibacterial stuff, and once it was all dry, she put it back together and put it back and was ready to go for the next time she needed it. I know that's a lot of work, but that will make your vacuum cleaner last a really long time. And that's exactly what she said. She's like, I know this is a lot of work, but think about it, it's going to last a long time. So anyway, please like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more.